Welcome fellow fraggers, this time a quick look at the Doom beta that was open to us from this weekend just gone on both Xbox One, PC and PS4. Unfortunately, I barely got time to play any of them. In fact, when the previous beta was available on the PS4, I only got a chance to play 2 games, of which you can see some footage on that, which is why I didn't get a video up, because I wasn't really around that weekend. So unfortunately here we're looking at the Xbox One and PS4 versions of the game, and a look back at the PS4 version from a few weeks prior. The team were quite bullish about their targets of 1080-60 on both consoles, and being an ID Tech game, this time ID Tech 6, that means it's most likely running a dynamic resolution, and that's quite clear in the game. At some point you can see it, and without spending a great deal of time counting too many images, it should be no surprise to see that the PS4 version and Xbox One both hit a native 1080, but they both dip below that, with the PS4 looking to keep its 1080 resolution throughout, and the Xbox One dropping both vertical and horizontal. And this obviously means that the PS4 comes in with a higher average than the Xbox One. But really, in motion and in play, you're not really going to notice that, due to the fact that the game's got a TSAA solution for temporal anti-aliasing, which does leave the image a little soft, but it's not too bad, and it certainly doesn't look jagged. And it's got some superb motion blur in there, which looks great in action, and again, I'm hoping this will ramp up the single player version, which is also targeting 60 frames per second. In terms of visual clarity though, it's a very good looking game at certain points. There's some nice dynamic lighting, a big improvement over the previous games in Wolfenstein that's used quite a lot throughout the game, soft lights from the fire and the furnace, and a lot of point lights from explosions, but generally the game feels like it's been outsourced and kind of bodged onto the single player campaign. No great surprise when you learn it's been developed outsourced by Certain Affinity rather than id, but they have worked in collaboration with them, and it's no surprise again to learn that these guys also did the Halo Master Chief Collection multiplayer and COD Call of Duty Ghosts, so this has that feel of a mixture of COD and Halo, unsurprisingly when you play it. The other thing that's wrong with the game is it's all over the place. The rockets are all out of sorts. When you use them they don't work. The shotgun's more powerful than the rocket, which is just madness. You've got these pop-up little RPG type numbers that pop over people's heads. Weapons are used in a loadout system that you have to improve, so if you jump into the beta or you're playing the game, and like most of the games now, if you've just started out, you're completely overpowered by other weapons in the game. Everything is not really that well placed, and the maps are quite boring and stale. I must admit, the 2 maps that are available, generic furnace burning area 1 and generic hell brick place 2. Not helped again by the obviously low quality texture assets, and it pops in and loads in slowly, typical id Tech technology there, but they are quite low, but this is understandable due to the fact that they've got to keep the bitrate and bandwidth down for the high quality 60 frames per second or 60 Hz that they're targeting, so that's not too bad overall, and you're zipping past so fast it's not a problem. But the map layouts, like I say, they're pretty boring, and even though they're not massive, there is points in the game where you're running around like a headless chicken trying to find anyone to shoot, and sometimes you end up getting shot in the back or the arse yourself. So yeah, it's got some nice touches. The takedowns are quite good in the game. When it jumps in, you get the lovely depth of field and the motion blur. You get to see it as you break heads and kick people off sides, and obviously you get to become the devil and jump into that devil mode and thrash around the map looking like something out of Predator gone mad. In terms of performance, what is quite nice is the previous beta on the PS4, as you can see on screen now, was an absolute tear fest, tearing everywhere, not really dropping anywhere out of the 50s, but it did tend to tear pretty much the whole time you were playing the game, and it was very, very obvious. This has now been completely alleviated with the latest beta, and rather than an underwatery, wobbly look at the game, you now get a solid refresh rate, and in addition, much better performance, now dropping nowhere near to the low 50s that we saw in the previous version, but instead seeing a very solid display across both versions. The Xbox One comes in with a drop of 73 frames across my tested sections, and the PS4 comes in at 70 frames, leaving us with a 59 average on both machines, and therefore no worries for the multiplayer side of the game at least. Anyway, this is a smooth, fast and well controlled shooter, mirroring the Call of Duty and Halo franchises that it so clearly has aspirations for, but it doesn't really feel like a Doom game. The sound's crap, there's no music, and generally I'm underwhelmed. I don't tend to be so negative about a game, but I'm a big fan of Doom, and this does absolutely nothing for me. It's fun for about 20 minutes and then you just get bored. I'll leave you a few minutes footage for performance if you want to see it, but overall it's a very solid game, and I am looking forward to the single player, so I'll certainly be checking that out. But in terms of multiplayer, they need to do a hell of a lot more here. There's so many things wrong with the game that I could just make a whole video pointing them out, but there's no real point, because in terms of everything, I think it's just going to get lost in the big May rush. And we all know a big game that's taken everyone's attention that's coming out that month as well, so hopefully Doom won't descend into hell, and all of us will get a chance to see what the single player delivers nearer the time. As always, I hope you guys and girls enjoyed this. If you did, then please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps me immensely. You guys and girls take care, and I'll see you very soon on the next one.
Enemy demon slain. 5 kills remaining. Score limit reached.